Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. What you're looking at right now is one of my bookshelf units. And those books where you can't see the spines, you're just looking at the ends of the books. These two shelves right here are predominantly cozy mysteries. This is what I consider my cozy mystery shelves. The top shelf, well, the uppermost shelf of the two here, is where I keep my mass market paperback cozy mysteries, and they are generally triple stacked. And then the lower shelf are the hardcover and trade paperback size, and they are double stacked. Now, everything is out of whack right now because during March Mystery Madness, I was going in, every couple of days looking for books for challenges, for Instagram challenges and the scavenger hunt and all of that. And they just got all out of whack. In fact, at some point during the month, I took a good portion of them out and put them in this bin so that I could just get a better look at what I had. There are some stacked on that cart, and they're a mess. So I have been needing to get in here and do this. I am in my utility room right now. In this room, it functions as not only a library, but that's my washer and dryer there. As you can see, I've got some empty boxes there ready to sort. And it was a good excuse to come in here and clean today, clean the floors, wipe down the washer and dryer. I had even washed my curtains and I have put those back up. So yay for that. I probably need to wash that window. But anyway, this is a utility room, so it's very utilitarian, but it does function as part of my personal library. I have a huge portion of my books in here. There's also a good portion through that door right there that goes into our home office, which is where I do my filming most of the time. So we're not going in there today. We are going to focus right here on these two shelves. And while I'm sorting, I have had a couple of people ask me if they could see my collection. So I've got to spread all of these out and sort and go through and get everything back in order. So why not just bring you along with me? Now, I am not going to show the whole sorting process, but I might experiment with that a little bit, because I know a lot of times people would set the camera up and then they would go and they would start sorting, and then when it's all done, they would come back and speed it up so that you could actually see the whole process. And I don't really know how to do that, but I am learning how to use Videoshop. I am filming this from my... Usually, if I plan to edit a video, I film from my old camera, but it just doesn't get very good lighting. And I don't think you'd be able to see the books if I use that camera. And so usually then I film on my phone, my old phone, and on those videos, I have not in the past tried editing those because I just don't know how, but I am learning a little bit about using Videoshop on my phone, and I have learned how to put clips together. So I think I can film this in clips and piece it all together. It may not be perfect, but what of my videos are? So anyway, I'm going to stay behind the camera for all of these sections and just show you my cozy mysteries. Okay, so I'm back. It is the next day. I spent hours on and off yesterday sorting, and then still a little more time today just getting things in the right order. This is my mystery shelving unit. Well, two of the shelves, actually three if you count those. Most of those are Christian cozy mysteries. There's a few that are just general cozy mysteries that are trade paperback size. I will probably try to show you those in this video. And then that shelf is right now mostly Amish books in the front and my Cape Light series. And then behind that are my other Christmas books. And then up on the very top are more Christian cozy mysteries and a few Amish books that won't fit on that shelf. So this shelving unit is quite full, and right now I don't even have everything on here. I have taken a lot of the books off to sort, but what's on here right now, before I start packing it all back in just for storage purposes, I want to show you the mysteries that I have. Now, I may decide to only show you some things in this video and then divide this up into other videos. We'll just see how long it ends up taking me. I did want to show you how I catalog my books. I have my Kindle here. This is an app called Book Catalog, and that's just kind of the home page. Let me show you kind of how, if I can, let's see. All right, so here, if I click on my books, this will then show me a listing of all the books that I have cataloged that I own. Over here, I can collapse. No, I hit the wrong thing. Oops. Over here, if I hit collapse, now I just have the authors. So if I know that I want to go and find what I have by an author that starts with T, for instance, then it's a lot faster to scroll all the way through. I could probably search, but a lot of times I just scroll. So let's see, Jodie Thomas. Then I just click on her, and then this shows me everything that I own by Jodie Thomas, which is a lot. She's probably my most owned romance author. But since this video is about cozy mysteries, I really should have gone and showed you my most owned cozy mystery author, which is, let me get to it here. Almost there. Well, gracious. Laura Giles. I have most of the books from all three of her series. The Tea Shop Mysteries, the Scrapbooking Mysteries, and the Cackleberry Club. So what this does, once I input the ISBN number, or if it doesn't have an ISBN number, I can input the author and the title. Then the book will come up. It'll ask me if is this the book, and I can either add it or cancel. Then it automatically, for the most part, sorts by series in the correct order. It's not perfect. Every once in a while, a book will show up under the author's category, but not in order of its series. For instance, here I have Cackleberry Club. It shows me that I have books 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. I actually have book 5, but for some reason it's up here and it doesn't show that it has a number, but that is book 5 in that series. So I don't know why it does that, but it does. And it's not perfect, but when I'm at a library book sale and I am trying to figure out or remember if I have a book or not, it's such a huge help. So then if I click on a book, then there it shows me a cover. I haven't figured out how to change editions. It'll just show me a cover of a book and the description. I haven't figured out all the ins and outs of the whole thing, but for my purposes, it works great. And this is a free app that you can download. So anyway, this video didn't start out to be about how I catalog my books, but I just thought I would throw that in there. So anyway, this is how I catalog my books, and it helps me to be able to, at a glance, see the order of the books that I have so that I can put them in the correct order on my shelf if I want to, which I usually do. So let's go now to the books. I'm going to show you in this video for sure the series that have authors that start with, let's say, A, B, C, D, and maybe E. I think I have a couple of E's. I might go a little farther, but the biggest A author I have is Aunt Dimity. Let me put that down because that glares. So here's my Aunt Dimity collection. I think I did post a picture of these and some of their covers on Instagram not too long ago. But I have read 6 of these. Yes. My first several are in paperback. And then I have this many in hardcover. And thankfully, they're not back and forth like this. They are in order. You're going to see some of my series later where I have hardcovers mixed in with paperbacks, and I can't put them on the shelf like that because I just don't have that amount of space. But I will show them to you in order before I actually sort them. Generally on this shelf, I keep a triple stack of mass market paperbacks. And they're all mysteries, predominantly cozy mysteries. And then down here, these are hardcovers and trade paperbacks because they're generally similar in size. But for this video, I have put the series together so that I can show you my collection. So, I don't know, do you want to see the covers or could I just go down the spine? I don't know. I'll do the first one, this first video where I show you the covers, and then if you comment and say, no, that's too much, it takes too long, then for the rest of these, I will just show you the spines. Anyway, so we have Aunt Dimity's Death. This is a series that I have really enjoyed reading. I think like I said, I've read 6 of these, and it takes place in England. Aunt Dimity and the Duke is number 2. I might just tell you about the series while I'm showing you the covers. Anyway, it's about Lori. She is a young American woman, single at the time that the series starts. And her mother's best friend, who I don't think is actually her biological aunt, I think she just always kind of called her that, she passes away and leaves Lori a house, like a cottage, and property, and I think there's more than that. But anyway, she leaves her basically everything she has. And so Lori ends up moving to England, living in the house. She does, I'm going to give you some spoilers because this happens fairly early on. She does meet a man who I think is the lawyer's assistant or son or grandson or something. Honestly, I don't remember exactly the connection, but she ends up marrying him and they have some children and it goes on from there. And all of that is within the first 6 books, which I've read. This is the most recent one that I've read, Aunt Dimity Beats the Devil. And it is not referring to the devil. It is referring to a man who was like the patriarch of his family, and they called him the Old Devil. So here's where I am now in the series. I have not read this one, Aunt Dimity Detective. Aunt Dimity Takes a Holiday. The bunny that's present on the covers, I think he's Lori's childhood toy, and she keeps him around. I forget. I prefer these more cutesy covers with the bunnies and with the bunny on them and everything. Oh, I didn't really tell you. So Aunt Dimity is now, as you could probably tell from the very first cover, Aunt Dimity's Death. Aunt Dimity dies, and then she is a ghost. She's a presence in the life of Lori, and she communicates through a journal. So she's not like a wispy ghost that you can see and talk to, although she does communicate with Lori and gives her clues about whatever mystery is being solved. Okay, so the covers started to change here, and I don't care for these as much, but the majority of what I have this style of cover. So this is Aunt Dimity and the Next of Kin. Did I mention these are by Nancy Atherton? I do have one other one that still has the cutesy cover, and I don't know if they made any more of this style after that, but I do prefer these. This is Aunt Dimity and the Deep Blue Sea. Aunt Dimity Goes West. Aunt Dimity Vampire Hunter. Aunt Dimity Slays the Dragon. Aunt Dimity Down Under. Aunt Dimity and the Family Tree. I do own the first 20. Aunt Dimity and the Village Witch. There's a little bit more than that, which I'll tell you in a second. Aunt Dimity and the Lost Prince. This is book 19, Aunt Dimity and the Wishing Well. Book 20, Aunt Dimity and the Summer King. I do not have books 21 and 22, but I do have book 23, Aunt Dimity and the King's Ransom. And I think this is the most recent one. There may be one more after that. This is a series that is still being written, to my knowledge, and I will continue to collect them since I already have this many. And I don't collect everything that I read. In fact, of all the Cozy Mystery series that I have kept up with as far as reading, most of those I don't own. Like the Joanne Fluke, Hannah Swenson Baking Mysteries, I don't own those. I have had a couple of them here and there, but I don't collect those. And the Cat Who books, I'm finished now with that series. I have had a few on and off over the years, but I don't collect those. So at some point, when and if I ever finish these books in my lifetime, I will probably pass them on to someone else. I will, hand over my whole collection. But for now, I like to keep my series together, and then I like to gift someone with the entire series if I have collected it. I haven't done that much because I haven't really collected a lot of full series, but that's kind of my goal, sort of. Anyway, so let me turn this off and I'm going to go over to my washer and dryer where I have my other books that I'm going to show you next. Okay, so here on my washer and dryer, I have spread out some boxes with a good portion of my mass market paperback Cozy Mysteries, where I've been sorting them kind of alphabetical by author, at least trying to group them by series. In this set that you're looking at, these are the ones that I have probably 5 or less of in any given series. The ones that I have more than that of, I've got either still on the shelf where I just showed you, or a few that are on my kitchen table for whatever reason. So I want to try to accomplish as much as I can in this video, but if it starts to get super long, I will probably cut it short. Maybe try to at least do this in 2 parts, possibly 3. So let's just start with what I have by A authors, and then we'll move into B authors and C. There's quite a few B's and C's. I might go a little farther until we get to like the next big group after that, but let's just see how it goes. So this is the only one I have from this series by Laura Alden. It's called Plotting at the PTA. It is book 3 in this series, and I picked this up initially because I used to be very active in the PTA when Emily was in elementary school. I was the treasurer, and I said after I finished that I would not ever do anything like that again. But I can certainly understand how murders might occur around a PTA. So anyway, and not that I would ever do anything like that, but I certainly get it. Anyway, I don't know anything about this series, but I did pick this book up at a book sale somewhere because it is referring to PTA, and I don't know anything about it. So if you know anything about this book or this series, please let me know if you liked it, and I will continue to kind of keep my eyes out for books 1 and 2, and other than that, I'm just going to hang on to it for the time being. I need to probably check and see if my library has books 1 and 2, but for now, it's here. Then I have one other author whose name starts with A. I do have books 1 and 2 in this series. This series is called A Novel Idea Mystery. The first book is Buried in a Book, and the series is by Lucy Arlington. Book number 2 is Every Trick in the Book. I think this series is about an author, and that's all I know about it. Then I have the first book in the Agatha Raisin mysteries because I've heard really good things about it. I think there's a lot of books in this series, and I don't really want to collect them, but I did find this first book somewhere and thought I would just grab it so that if this ever comes up in Book One Cozies Club or something like that, or if I ever just get the motivation to read it, then I will. I have heard really good things, so I'm glad that I have this first book. And if I absolutely love it, I might start collecting these. But as of right now, this is the only MC Beaton book. Okay, so as you may have figured out, we are on to B authors now, when we started with MC Beaton. And the next B author I have is Jenny Bentley. I do have 7 of these books, so I guess I lied earlier when I said that all of the books in the series on this set of books were ones that I only had 5 or less of, because I have 7 of these. Anyway, this series is called the Do-It-Yourself Mysteries. I think it's about a woman who inherits a home from someone and fixes it up in the first book, and then after that decides to continue to fix up homes and flip them. So this first one is called Fatal Fixer-Upper. If I'm wrong about the premise, please correct me. The next one, Spackled and Spooked. The next one is Plaster and Poison. Mortar and Murder. Flipped Out. Wall to Wall Dead. And the last one that I have is Home for the Homicide. This may be all of the series. I'm really not sure, and I neglected to look it up. But this is the first 7. And I think I had only the first 3 for the longest time. And then somewhere I found the last 4. And it's so funny because this has happened to me a few times where I will be somewhere and I will find exactly the books of a series that I don't have. And I think, okay, this is meant to be. I'm supposed to have these books because they complete my set. So that's kind of what happened here. All right, a few others. This is the first in series, the only one I have. Sorry, Dire Threads by Janet Bolin. It is a Threadville mystery. And that looks fun. Anything that has anything to do with sewing, threads, or fabric, I'm always gravitating towards that, especially from my sister. I don't sew much, really not much at all anymore, but I can, and I enjoy that because I majored in home ec in college, and my mom was a home ec teacher. My sister Charla is also retired from teaching home economics or whatever it's called now, family and consumer sciences. So I'm always interested in things that have to do with that. Okay, so moving on. I have 2 of this series, and I think this is not the first one. This is book 4. I think I do have the first one. Let's see here. Yes. A Sheet Cake Named Desire. This is by Jacqueline Brady. This series has some of the best titles. In fact, I wrote them here. Number 2 is Cake on a Hot Tin Roof, and number 3, Arsenic and Old Cake. And you can kind of see a theme there of parodies of movie titles. So I think that's fun. Or maybe play titles. I don't know. I guess it's both. So those look good. I have not read either of those. I think Courtney, the protagonist, may have read this for a book club pick a year or 2 ago, but I still, at that point, didn't even get it read. My friend Donna from Paradonna Palimpsest has been reading this series called, I guess it's just Amish Mysteries by Laura Bradford. And this is called Suspended Sentence. It is not book 1. I don't have any others from this series. This is book 4. I think I found this at the Book Warehouse store when it was here in the Orlando area. It has since closed, and I wish I could have found more. All right, this series, there's 3 of them, and I don't even know the number because for a long time on Goodreads, they weren't even numbered. I think they are now. And I don't know if it matters what order you go in. But they're by Kate Borden. Death of a Tart. I think these are historical. And it is Cobb's Landing is the series. Death of a Tart is one of them. Death of a Turkey. So I think that's like a Thanksgiving theme. And then this one's a Halloween theme. Death of a Trickster. So I believe that's all there is of that series. And then I have the first Cat Who book. Just if I ever need to show it in a video or whatever. I've read this one at least twice. I have finished the series now. This is the first book in the Cat Who series by Lillian Jackson Braun. And I will probably just keep it on hand if I ever want to refer to the series. Okay, so now we come to C. I believe most everything in this box is C, except for these over here on the side. We'll get to those in a minute. I only have one of the Bookmobile Cat Mysteries, and actually, now that I said that, I think I may have picked up one more that is still in the car. I was able to visit my friend's flea market bookstore. It was open for the first time this past weekend since all of the COVID-19 mess, and so I think I picked up another book from this series, but I don't know which one. So anyway, this is book 5, and I have read the first book. I think I've listened to it on audio. I think they may be on Hoopla, and it's a series that I definitely want to continue. Then I have 6 of these books. I have read the first one by Kate Carlisle. These are the Bibliophile Mysteries. The first one is Homicide in hardcover. And this is about someone who, I believe, restores antique books. So I believe this is number 2, If Books Could Kill. Let's see, I always have the numbers written right on the inside cover. I'm just gonna tell you the names and not look at everything. Yes, book 3 I do not have. So this is book 4, Murder Undercover. The next one I have is One Book in the Grave. Peril in Paperback. And A Cookbook Conspiracy. Again, I don't have all of these. This one is book 7. And so I guess I have the first 7 with the exception of book 3. All right, the next C author I have here is Joelle Charbonneau. I think these are the only 3 in this skating series. And I believe I read somewhere that her mother was a competitive skater. And so that's how she knows about this sport. Now, you may recognize Joelle Charbonneau's name because she wrote the Testing series. This was a Sunshine State book a few years ago. It's kind of really more YA, but it's perfectly acceptable for middle grade. Anyway, it is a dystopian series, and I have read the first one of those. So I was, I just picked these up because I recognized the author's name, and I used to really enjoy skating. So the first one is Skating Around the Law. The second one is Skating Over the Line, and the third one is Skating on the Edge. I think this works better if I just pause the video, take them out of the box, and then I can show you the covers, and this will go a lot faster. So the next series is by Erica Chase. The first one is A Killer Read. The second one is Read and Buried. I don't have books 3 and 4, but book 5 is Law and Author. This series is the Ashton Corners Book Club series. So it's definitely book related, and looks like there's a couple of Siamese cats that come into play. So that looks fun. I have not read any of these, but I think I've heard people talk about them and have enjoyed them. This next series is a little harder to find. It's by Elizabeth Craig. So you can see I've still got the price tags on these. I did buy these at a used bookstore because I really wanted them. These have a quilting theme. So they are the Southern Quilting Mysteries. Book 1 is Quilt or Innocence. Book 2 is Not What It Seems. And then this is book 4, Sheer Trouble. I do not have book 3. And I have grabbed these because I like to, again, anything with a quilting or sewing theme, I'm sure that my sister will be interested in. So the goal is always to read them and then pass them on to her. So I have these, and I will continue to search for book 3 and any others that are in the series. These 3 are all books that were given to me. I believe one of my subscribers sent me The Grim Steeper by Amanda Cooper. I believe it's book 3 in a series called the Teapot Collector Mystery Series. And then my sister gave me these other 2, A Catered Birthday Party by Isis Crawford. I don't know if it's part of a series. When I cataloged them on my Kindle, it's coming up like as just a standalone. It doesn't say that it's part of a series. So I did not look it up on Goodreads, and I don't know for sure. But I think Isis Crawford is a mystery author that, I mean, I think she's written several mysteries. So I don't know if this is part of a series or not. And the same with this one. I don't know anything about this author, Terry Curran. All Booked Up is the name of the book. And like I said, my sister sent me these, and I don't know anything about them. This may seem a little out of order, but I realized as I was starting to edit this and put all the pieces together that these two books were sitting there in the first box, and I had forgotten to show them to you. So I'm going to insert this back in. The book on the left, the yellow one, Hair Today, Dead Tomorrow by Cynthia Baxter, is book 4 in the Raining Cats and Dogs mystery series. My sister sent me this. I did not know anything about this series, but it looks really good. I was just checking to see if my library had any of the others because it is a series that I would love to read. The protagonist is a veterinarian, so that's awesome. And then the other book is an ARC that I received last year from Berkeley. I have listened to this on audio as well as the first 3 in the series. This is book 4 in the Writer's Apprentice series by Julia Buckley. And I thought it was a very good series. Book 5 is out now. I have not listened to it or read it yet, but I probably won't hang on to this arc. I will probably put it in our little free library just because I don't have the rest of the series, and I'm going to just continue to listen to them on audio as they become available. But I do recommend it, and I thought that it was a good book. I think if you're going to read this book or anything from this series, this is a series that's best read in order. So I wouldn't recommend starting with this one, which is book 4, but I do recommend reading it. I enjoyed it a lot. And then I went ahead and went to my car and pulled out my small book haul from this past weekend. Our used bookstores have been opening back up, flea markets, thrift stores, things like that. And this is only 2 of what I have bought in my most recent shopping experiences. But I probably will do some book hauls. I just went ahead and put these in because these are C and D authors. Sheila Connelly is an author I've read before, and this is the first book in her Orchard series, which of all her series is the one I'm most interested in reading, and yet I think I've read from 3 other of her series, or at least 2 of her other series. I do own a copy of Buried in a Bog, which is the first of the County Cork mysteries, but it is loaned out right now. So One Bad Apple is the first in the Orchard series. I'm very interested in this series, and I'm excited that I found book 1 in the series at my friend's flea market bookstore. I also found book 1 in this series by Krista Davis. This series has been on my radar. It's the Paws and Claws mysteries. This first book is Murder, She Barked. And I did mention earlier when I was filming that when I showed this book, Bookmobile Cat, this is book 4 by Laurie Cass, Cat with a Clue, I was thinking that I had bought another book in this series, but I was getting my pet mysteries mixed up. So this is the one I recently bought, not another one from Bookmobile Cat. So anyway, just to clarify, I do not have any more of these, but I would like to find book 1 or at least read them. And so now let's get back to my previous filming. Okay, so I'm going to finish this box with some E's and it's a D, E, and F. And then I do have a couple of C authors that I have a lot of. And so I will move over to my shelves and finish those. And then I'll probably end this video with those and then come back with the rest of the alphabet at a later day. So for D, I have 2 by Eileen Davidson. I picked these up back when I had a challenge one time to read a book by a celebrity. And Eileen Davidson played Ashley Abbott on, or may still play Ashley Abbott on The Young and the Restless. I haven't watched that show in years. I used to watch it fairly faithfully. I have read this first book, Death in Daytime, and I enjoyed it. And then book 2, Dial Emmy for Murder. Then I have 2 books by an E author. I have Death by Coffee. This cover has a little bit of damage, but I couldn't resist that because I'm such a coffee drinker. It's by Alex Erickson. And I don't have book 2. I'm not even sure of the title of it, but this is book 3, Death by Pumpkin Spice. And this is the Bookstore Cafe Mysteries. So then I do have book 1 of a series that is an author whose name starts with F. I don't know if you pronounce this Pfeffer or Pfeiffer. It looks like Pfeffer to me, but I can't confirm that. The first name is Sharon, and this is the first book, Killer Stuff. I have several more from this series, and they are sitting over behind me on my shelf because I have those in hardcover. So I'm going to move over to my shelf. I will finish this series and then show you a couple of other C authors that I have before I wrap up this video. So this series is called the Jane Wheel Mysteries. I always just call it the Stuff series because the word stuff is in the title of all the books. I don't have book 2, but this is book 3, The Wrong Stuff. Book 7 is Hollywood Stuff. I'm sorry, that's not book 7. This is book 5. Yes, book 5. Here, book 6, Scary Stuff. And then book 8, I believe, or 7. I don't know. Book 7, Backstage Stuff. I think this is the first one that I found of this series. I remember being at a book sale at our public library, and I thought this looked really interesting. And then I eventually started finding more of them, and then I had to seek out the first one, and I was only able to find it in paperback. So this one, I believe, is book 8, Lucky Stuff. I did feature this in one of my Instagram challenges for March Mystery Madness because we were looking for some Irish themed books or things that had Irish stuff on the cover and green. So this book came in handy for that challenge. Hiding behind my Aunt Dimity books, I forgot about this series that's by an author whose name starts with B. This is the Donut Shop Mysteries. I have read book 6. Or is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, book 6. That was the first one I ever found of the series, and I read it without even looking to see where it fell in the series. This is way back before I ever really started collecting cozy mysteries. So now I have collected more of the series. It is quite a big series. I don't have nearly all of them, but this is the first 7. So I do want to read these at some point. I will probably reread the 6th one whenever I get back to it. The first one is Glazed Murder, Fatally Frosted, Sinister Sprinkles, Evil Eclairs, Tragic Toppings, Killer Crullers, and sorry, running out of places to stash them so I can show them to you. Drop Dead Chocolate. Again, this is the Donut Shop Mysteries by Jessica Beck. The next series is by Elizabeth Lynn Casey, and I think if I could find these on audio, I would have finished this series by now. I absolutely loved the first book, which is called So Deadly. My sister got me onto these. This is about a young woman who is a librarian, I believe, and she is new to her town. She has moved to a town that is in the South, and she is Northern. So she has a little bit of trouble fitting in and being accepted, but she's young, she's fresh out of college, and she is really just wanting to start her adult life on a good note, but she keeps running up against all of these roadblocks. And I completely identified with her from when I was that age. And I really thought that the first book was excellent. These are the Southern Sewing Circle Mysteries. Now, she does get invited to a sewing circle, but again, she has some trouble fitting in. And I absolutely loved this first book. My sister has been she recommended this whole series to me years ago. It took me a couple of years, I think 3 or more, to finally get around to reading this first one. And like I said, I really, really loved it, but I cannot seem to make myself sit down and read them. I can't get them on audio. I keep letting other stuff get in the way. Meanwhile, I have collected what I think is the whole series. I've got 12 of them here. It may still be being written. There may be some more by now, but this is definitely the first 12. So the next book is called Death Threads, Pinned for Murder, Deadly Notions. The covers on these are beautiful. I love the covers. Dangerous Alterations, Reap What You Sow, Let It Sow, Remnants of Murder, Taken In, Wedding Duress, Needle and Dread, and Patterned After Death. So I am really looking forward to getting to these. I have no excuse for why it's taken me so long, except for the fact that I don't think they even exist on audio. If they were on audio, I think I would have just zipped through them. But I have them here. They're not going anywhere. I plan to read them, and I'm going to hang on to them until I do. And then if at some point I want to gift the whole set to someone that I think would enjoy them, then I will do that. But for now, they're not going anywhere. So to wrap up this last segment of this video, we're going to move on into my most owned cozy mystery author, and that is Laura Giles. I have 6 of her Cackleberry Club mysteries. I have 11 of the first 13 scrapbooking mysteries, and I have a whole boatload of the tea shop mysteries, which I'm not going to put those in this frame because they are in a box on the floor. So they will all go back on the shelf, but let me just show you what I have. Now, I did a video regarding scrapbooking fiction several months ago, so I'm probably not going to go over the covers of all of these, but here we have the first 3 of the scrapbooking mysteries, and then this one, Parchment and Old Lace, is book 13, and then I have all of these in hardcover: Motif for Murder, Frill Kill, Death Swatch, Tragic Magic, Fiber and Brimstone, Postcards from the Dead, and Guilt Trip. I apologize for all those library stickers. Sometimes if the stickers are under the plastic, I just can't be bothered to remove them, although it would look a lot better if I did. Maybe one of these days I will. So I have the Cackleberry Club series. There are 8 of these. I thought I had all of them, but I don't. The first one is Eggs in Purgatory, and I believe this is about some women who own a restaurant or a diner. These look super cute, and I believe these are on Hoopla now on audio. Eggs Benedict Arnold is the second book. So while I have only read 1 of the scrapbooking mysteries and 2 of the tea shop mysteries, I will probably get to these next because I think I can zip through these on audio fairly quickly. Bedeviled Eggs is book 3. Book 4, Steak and Eggs. Book 5, Eggs in a Casket. I don't have 6 and 7, sadly, but I do have 8, Eggs on Ice. Sorry. Okay, here are my tea shop mysteries. I do have 3 in hardcover, but honestly, I wish I could find those in paperback. And if I ever do, I will replace those and give up the hardcovers, because I would love to be able to just put all of these on the shelf and have them all be the same size. The hardcovers are really pretty, but it just doesn't fit. So anyway, I'll go over these quickly. I have read the first 2 of these, Death by Darjeeling and Gunpowder Green. These will go back on the shelf. I just have them here because I was just sorting them, and it was just easier to put them somewhere different so I could show them to you. Shades of Earl Grey is number 3. The English Breakfast Murder. Jasmine Moon Murder. Chamomile Morning. Blood Orange Brewing. I'm getting them out of order as I'm putting them down, but that's okay. Dragonwell Dead. That's why I'm not telling you the numbers anymore, because I've lost track. The Silver Needle Murder. Oolong Dead. The Teaberry Strangler. Scones and Bones. Agony of the Leaves. Sweet Tea Revenge. Steeped in Evil. Ming Tea Murder. And Devonshire Scream. So let's see what number this one is. 17. I believe there are 23 of these, and I believe now I do have all of the first 17 with no skips. Okay, I've got a couple of other F authors here that I was about to forget about, so let me go ahead and show you these. Most of you know Joanne Fluke for her baking mysteries, the Hannah Swenson series, which I have read all of. I don't collect those. There are just so many, and I've listened to them all on audio, so there was just no reason to collect them. But this is a set of books that I don't think is a series. They are thrillers. And I did have a duplicate of this one, Deadly Memories, that I recently loaned to a friend, and she loved it. So I told her I had some others by her that I would loan her. So before I loan these out, I thought I would show them to you. I have not read any of them, and this is not all of her thrillers. There are maybe another 5 or 6 that I don't have. But when I see them at book sales, I pick them up. So I have this one, Deadly Memories. I have Final Appeal. The Other Child. Again, these are not cozy. Vengeance is Mine, but I keep them on the shelf because they just fit better. Video Kill. And Winter Chill. And here is an E author that I was about to forget about. I don't think these are cozy either, more suspense thrillers, but I first picked up one of these because I thought it looked interesting, and I think that it takes place in Oklahoma, which is where I grew up. This first book is called Effigies. It's by Mary Anna Evans, and it is blurbed by Tony Hillerman, so that's a bonus. I think this second one is the one I found first, and it just looks really good, kind of creepy. It's called Artifacts. And so after I found it, I had to go and search and keep my eyes out for the first one and the third one. This third one is called Relics. There may be more in the series, but I am happy to have the first 3. And so at some point, I will plan on getting those read. And then one more series with an author whose name starts with F is Earlene Fowler. And these are the Benny Harper mysteries. I first started collecting these right after I started working with the Friends of the Library and doing book sales. And I started seeing these. My sister has read, I think, all of these, and it took me a while to find the first 2 in hardcover, but I eventually did. And this first one is called Fool's Puzzle. They are a quilting theme, although my sister said it's kind of light on the quilting and just more on the mystery, but that's fine. Irish Chain is the second one. Each of the titles is the name of a quilt pattern. Kansas Troubles. Goose in the Pond. These are older library editions, and I have not taken time to get all the stickers off. Dove in the Window. Mariner's Compass. 7 Sisters. Arkansas Traveler. All right, I was running out of space. I had to move some down to the floor and make some room. Steps to the Altar. Sunshine and Shadow. Broken Dishes. Delectable Mountains. Tumbling Blocks. State Fair. And one more called Spiderweb. And there you have it. I've got my books so spread out that I remembered another series by an author whose name starts with F that I want to include in this video. It's the Needlework or Needlecraft Mysteries by Monica Ferris. This first book is Cruel World. I do not own it anymore. I sent it to my sister several years ago after I read it because I thought she would enjoy it. And she didn't hang on to it, and at the time I didn't know I was going to collect the whole series. I now have almost all of the series. I don't have this first one because I have not ever been able to find another copy of it. And I don't have the very last one. But there are, I think, 19 in the series. So I have quite a few. So it's a good thing that I've already read the first one because I remember it. I remember a pretty good amount about it. I remember the premise and everything that happened. So I don't need to read it again. And I can just continue on. Should I ever find a copy of the first book, I probably will go ahead and get it just to, you know, continue to complete my set. But anyway, let me show you the ones I do have. Book 2, Framed in Lace. Book 3, A Stitch in Time. 4, Unraveled Sleeve. A Murderous Yarn. Hanging by a Thread. Cutwork. Cruel Yule. Embroidered Truths. Sins and Needles. Knitting Bones. Tie-dye. I think that's all of that stack. Blackwork. Buttons and Bones. Threadbare. And Then You Die. The Drowning Spool. Darned If You Do. And then there's one more after that that I don't have. So this is a series that I enjoyed the first one. It's about a woman who takes over an embroidery shop or a yarn shop. I guess it would be embroidery shop, yeah, from her sister. And I really enjoyed it. The rest of the series, according to my sister, she had read several of these and had not read the first one at the point when I sent her the first book. And she said, "Oh yeah, I've read some of these, so it's kind of good to know how the series starts out." But she said that of the later ones that she read, she didn't really care for them that much, and it was mainly because the series kind of took a supernatural twist, and she was not a fan of that. So I had already kind of started getting interested in the series just from reading the first one, and over the years I've just continued to collect these. I occasionally see them at book sales and whatnot, and I think when I first started collecting them, I didn't realize that there were so many in the series. But anyway, I've got most of them now, so I guess since I've taken the time and trouble to collect them and they're taking up space, I should go ahead and read them. So that is the Needlecraft Mysteries by Monica Ferris. Okay, I said I was going to end it there, and then I remembered I do have a handful of B and C authors here on this cart that I don't have any others in their series. I don't even know if they are part of series, but I do have this one, Please Do Feed the Cat by Marion Babson. I don't think this is part of a series, but it looked, you know, it was cat related, so I picked it up at a book sale somewhere. And then this one looks interesting. I think this is historical, and it is by Mignon F. Ballard. Miss Dimple Rallies to the Cause. I think there is a Miss Dimple series, and I don't know where this falls in the series, but It looked interesting. I don't know anything about it other than it looks historical, and I think it's part of a series. I think my sister sent me this one, Just Desserts by Barbara Breton. Again, I don't know if it's part of a series, but she said it looked good, and so she sent it to me. And then I picked this one up not too long ago at a book sale. I think I showed this in a book haul not too long ago. The Chocolate Frog Frame Up by Joanna Carl. And this, I believe, is number 3 in a series. Yes. So that looks fun. And then my sister also, in a couple of different packages, has sent me some Mary Higgins Clark books. I don't think these would be considered cozy. They're more suspense. But this one is the one I've had the longest. Let Me Call You Sweetheart. She said she really enjoyed this one. And then more recently, she sent me A Stranger Is Watching and one called Where Are the Children? So she has, she's like me. She has started, looking at the books when she goes to a thrift store or something, or when she sees a bookstore, she'll say, oh, I got to stop and look for some books for my sister. So she has started doing that for me, and I appreciate it so much. So I need to read some of these. I have not read any Mary Higgins Clark. I'll probably start with this one, or whichever I could maybe find on audio. And let me know if you have read any of these Mary Higgins Clark books, because I need to read some. I know she was a very prolific author. So the others that are on this cart are other, not part of, A, B, C, D, E, F authors. So I will show you those later. I also have this one by Frances Brody. It's book 7 in the Kate Shackleton series. It's called A Death in the Dales. I have listened to the first book in this series on audio. It's called Dying in the Wool. This particular book was sent to me by Catherine from Jane Catherine on Books. So thank you again, Catherine, for this book. I am trying to work up to this one and read or listen to the rest of the series before I get to this one. But as you can see, I have lots more books to show you. So that's all for this video, though. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.